Hi, and welcome to the third video in this sequence of videos about how to create your first Android app. Okay, don't forget we are trying to build the currency converter that I showed you in the first one. But what we're going to do today is just finish off our Hello World app that we're going to do as our first app. Okay, so let's move swiftly on. Okay, so last lesson, what we did was we talked about how to build your interface, and we talked about you putting constraints on your text view and your button so that when they were on different screen sizes, all right, they were always in the same place. Okay, so hopefully you had an experiment with that, and hopefully you've got yours working. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to have a go at adding some code. All right, so we're going to make it so that when we click the button, okay, when we click the button, it's going to come up and put Hello World in the box at the top there. Okay, so let's have a play with that and let's get that working. All right, so um, this, of course, is our activity main. Okay, so this is our interface. Now, all of our code is going to go into main activity.java. So we're going to move over to here to main activity.java. Okay, now what you can see here is we've already got some code in here that that um, that we can already we've got some code in here that has already been put in for us. Okay, so this has been created for us. All right, and we've got a method here that tells the computer what to do when we create um, our app. Okay, and so we're going to leave all of this alone. Okay, but what we do need to make sure we do is in Java. What's really important is we keep an eye on these funny curly brackets. Okay, so we're going to create a method. We're going to tell the computer what to do when we click the button. That method is going to go inside these funny curly brackets. Okay, so these curly brackets tell the computer where the class main activity starts. So this is where it starts, and this is where it ends. Okay, now you'll find some more funny curly brackets here. Okay, so this funny curly bracket is telling the computer where the code for the onCreate method starts and where the onCreate method ends. Okay, now we want to leave the onCreate method alone. We're not going to do anything with that. So we're going to put our method underneath. All right, so we're going to press enter a couple of times and we're going to start our method underneath. Okay, now you can see that the onCreate method is protected. We'll talk about what that means hopefully in the live lesson. Okay, we're going to make our method public. Okay, so we're going to write public to start. We're going to follow suit and we're going to put the word void again. We'll talk about what that means in the live lesson on Thursday. Okay, so we're going to start with public void. Then we're going to give our method a name. Okay, so we'll call it something like, let's just call it write hello world. Okay, now you just notice that I've not put any spaces in there. Okay, it's just all one word. Okay, now what we do next, and you can see it on the onCreate method up here. All right, you can see that they've got some parameters in the brackets. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify the brackets. I'm going to specify the parameters, sorry, and the parameters go inside the brackets. All right, now the parameters for this particular method, because this method is going to be used when we click the button, then it has to have this particular parameter, which is the view. Okay, it has to take a view. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to put a funny curly bracket and a closed funny curly bracket. Okay, so all our code is going to go into here. All right, now this SDK is great, all right, because it gives you lots of helpful hints about if you've made any mistakes. So you can see that view has come up in red, all right, and basically it's saying it can't resolve the symbol. So all programming languages have a dictionary that they understand and a syntax, a set of rules. All right, so basically what this SDK is telling us at the moment is it can't find view in its dictionary. Okay, now I said to you that view we have to put a view in there, an object of type view. Okay, so the reason why it can't find this class is because we need to import it. So if you just click on import, all right, and it will do it all for you. There you go, and you can see that it just imports that class. Okay, so we now can create an object of type view. We'll talk more about what we mean by objects and how this works in Thursday's live lesson. Okay, so there's our method created. Now, inside the funny curly brackets, then we're going to tell the computer what to do. So what we need to do, first of all, is we need to get a grip on that text view that we created. Okay, we need to be able to get hold of that and access it so that we can put some text in it. All right, so that was a text view that we created. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an object of type text view like that, okay? And I'm going to call it text box. You don't have to call it text box. You can call it whatever you want. All right, now we know why this has gone red, okay? Because again, the computer's saying, well, what's a text view? So we just need to make sure, again, that we import the class. There we go. All right. So we've created an object, a text view object that's called text box, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to put equals. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to do something called casting, all right? And again, this is something that we can talk about in Thursday's live lesson, and it's definitely something that we'll investigate as we progress through the IB Computer Science course. Okay, so I'm going to put in the brackets my cast as this is a text view, okay? And we'll, as I said, we'll talk a little bit more about what that means later on, okay? So I've got my text view. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a method, all right, and it's called find view. Now again, I like this because it comes up and helps me out, okay? So I'm going to use this method, find view by ID, okay? Now inside here then, I need to put the ID of that text box, okay? Now it's going to start with R, okay, dot ID, okay, dot, okay, and then if you have a look here, so these are all the things that I've got that I can access, okay, so I want to access the text view, which is this one, so I'm just going to double click on there, then I'm done. Now what I need to make sure I put on the end of this line, at the end of every line in Java, okay, unless it's a method declaration or an if statement or a loop, I put a semicolon there, okay, so I've got a semicolon at the end there. All right, so what I've now done in that line, okay, is I've now grabbed the text view. I can now access it. Okay, so I can now access that that text view. I've got a handle to it. Okay, and that's actually called a rather. I mean, I use the word handle, but it's called a reference. Okay, so I can now access it because I've got a reference to it. So what I'm now going to do is I'm just going to put some text in it. Okay, so I'm just going to put the name of it, which is text box dot. All right, and again, we get all of these different methods, so it's worth having a look through the list and see what you can do. All right, so these are all the things that you can do with that text box. These are all the methods that you can access. The one I want to access is set text, okay? So there's the set text one, okay? And so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to put my text in the brackets, all right? So as a parameter, okay? Now, like any programming language, this is going to be a string, so I need to put it in quotes, okay? So I'm just going to put, and I did say this was going to be our Hello World program, so I'm just going to put Hello World, okay? And don't forget on the end of the line, you need your semicolon. All right, now hopefully that should work. So there's a couple more things we need to do before we can test it, but that's your code written. You've got no errors, so we're good with the code. Okay, now what I need you to do before we can test it is we need to go back to activity main XML. Okay, and what we need to do is we need to click on our button, which I already have. Okay, and basically what we need to do is we need to tell the computer what we want to do when we click that button. Okay, so if you look down the right hand side, we've got the attributes section down the right hand side. You will find under common attributes it says on click. All right, and if we select the drop down and we go to write hello world, all right, that's what we want to do when we click on the button. Okay, we want to write hello world. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to test this now. Okay, so now you're not going to be able to see it because I'm going to have to change windows. Okay, so I will do that in a minute. So we're going to press the run button, and the emulator is going to come up, and I'm going to show you that emulator. All right, so just give me a minute to show you the emulator. I just need to flip the screen for you. Sorry about this. Is it this one? No, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Again, just give me a minute. Where is it? That's interesting. Oh, there it is. I found it. Okay, sorry about that. There we go. If I click OK. All right, let me just fade this in. Okay, so there's our emulator. We can see the emulator. All right, so let's test it then. So when we click the button, what should happen is we should see Hello World in that text view box. Okay, there we go, and it works. Okay, so there's our first Android app written. All right, so what I want you to do is see if you can create your Hello World app. Don't forget that you can email me if you have any issues with this, and keep an eye out for the fourth lesson in the series where we start to work on our currency calculator. Okay, thanks for watching.